welcome to you all at home.
You've still got a chance to win this race, haven't you?
Just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it through the light.
Hey guys, Harrison One Mechanic once again with a brand new video for you, and welcome to episode 3, season 2 of Dre TV. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the Circuit of the Americas and the United States Grand Prix. Believe it or not, this is actually one of my favourite Grand Prix on the calendar now. I seem to really warm to the Circuit of the Americas. It's one of those few tracks, in my opinion, that actually gets Formula 1 and MotoGP spot on. And this was probably the best American Grand Prix we've had so far of the 3 we've had in the Austin era, you could say, in Texas. But yeah, this is going to be kind of your stereotypical race review, kind of a Five Thoughts thing if you remember me doing that series in the past. But yeah, I got some few talking points I think that are worth mentioning, and to be honest, it's kind of a nice distraction from the whole F1's about to go bankrupt kind of thing. So let's talk about the front two, because they're in a different league to everybody else right now. Yeah, Hamilton wins his 5th consecutive race. I feel a little bit bad for Nico in the sense of he set an outrageous qualifying lap to get that pole position. It was one of the best of the year, probably the best lap of Nico Rosberg's career, and he needed that for pole position. I know a lot of Hamilton fans will say, "Oh, but he had brake problems." I don't think they were worth 4/10, to be honest with you. That was a clear beating from Rosberg on that one. And with that, he also seals the pole trophy, so brilliant job from Rosberg to at least match the supposed outright speed that Hamilton fans always claim he has. It's nice to see that Rosberg can match him pound for pound in that department, at least. But on the day, the two were very, very evenly matched all the way through. It reminded me a lot of 2012 when Hamilton faced Vettel, where I think those two guys were incredibly close, like lap after lap. A couple of attempts here, a couple of attempts there. Luckily, there was no back marker this time to affect the action, but in the end, it was just Hamilton who got close enough, and I think he kind of caught Rosberg out with the pass that he put on him. Going into turn 12, the bottom of the DRS zone. It was a very opportunistic. It was a clean, a hard, but I think a fair pass just about. The problem with passing into that corner is that there is only really one line to go through it, because if you're going tight to the inside, unfortunately the problem with that is that you're going to lose so much speed going into turn 13. So as a result, Hamilton did kind of take the natural line and ran Rosberg off the road a little bit, which technically isn't allowed, but let's be honest, you always get a squeeze for those kind of passes. But yeah, after that it was pretty straightforward. Hamilton was doing just enough to stay ahead of Rosberg. I mean, Rosberg was taking a tenth here, a tenth there, but he was never in consistent range to launch a counter attack for the whole Grand Prix afterwards, which is kind of a shame, really, because again, I would have liked to have seen an all-out fight between these two, like Bahrain, where they were very evenly matched. But it just seems to be a thing where Hamilton just has the measure of Rosberg head-to-head, wheel-to-wheel, when it comes down to these situations. It's happened time and time again this season. Rosberg has not won an individual fight between these two, and the head-to-head kind of shows that. I mean, when it comes to head-to-head between the two Mercedes, on races, it's 11-6 in favour of Hamilton, despite the supposed bad luck that Hamilton's had in multiple races. And in terms of race wins, Hamilton has 10 and Rosberg has 4. And given they're by a mile the most dominant car in the field, and Daniel Ricciardo has had a little bit of luck go his way in terms of benefiting from Mercedes' errors and technical problems, Hamilton's clearly been superior. And I think that, for me at least, I think the championship is on the brink of being over. It's going to take a miracle, I think, for Rosberg to win this one now, or some kind of mechanical messery, I think, for it to be anything other than a Hamilton championship now. 24 points with 2 to go. I know there's a double point finale, but as long as Hamilton finishes second in both races, he's champion, so he can even afford to give Rosberg these last two wins, and it wouldn't make any difference. Moving on The Bulls, the Red Bulls. Another tale of two Red Bulls story here for you. Daniel Ricciardo did a brilliant job to get in third again. On paper, there's no way Red Bull should have beaten Williams on the day. We kind of got a little bit lucky, as he has been for a lot of this season. Just little things here and there going his way. In this case, it was a bad Felipe Massa pit stop on his final stint, a 3.7 second stop. Not dreadful by any stretch, but it may have been enough to cost Massa a podium. And, you know, Massa actually had the measure of Bottas for the first time in a little while in terms of race pace performance as well. So nice to see Felipe still up there challenging for podiums as well. But another brilliant drive from Daniel Ricciardo. The fact he was matching the Williams just is a testament to just how good a driver he is. Sebastian provided a lot of the late entertainment in the end. I mean, he had to stop 4 times in the race, which I thought was ridiculous. I don't know what Red Bull were thinking, thinking that 2 prime stints could get him through the whole race. It's clear that the degradation, Pirelli actually got spot on this time around, making the race an effective 2 to 3 stopper in terms of 2 options and a prime, and maybe being able to work out. I'm guessing Red Bull were thinking there was going to be no degradation in the style of Sochi, but it just didn't work out in the end. As a result, Sebastian he was also given a bad batch of prime tyres according to Helmut Marko, and it cost him at least 15 seconds. If Vettel maybe stayed out after the safety car on his option tyres and just gone for it, maybe it would have worked out better, because he lost so much time in that first stint. It was like he was driving a different car in the second half of the race, and his late charge was fantastic, given the fact that Red Bull had thrown him under the bus in terms of strategy, and as a result, he was just half a second off Fernando Alonso in 6th. For some reason, Alonso was 90 seconds behind the 2 Mercedes for the win, which I thought, holy crap. Like, that's astonishing. Like, Mercedes nearly 2 seconds a lap faster than Ferrari. What? But keep half an eye on the fight in the championship for 4th between Bottas, Alonso and Vettel. Vettel and Alonso have the same number of points. Bottas is 7 points down the road. That scrap for 4th could be quite fun. Speaking of scraps, we had some good ones in the field as well. We had Alonso and Button, who had a brilliant fight. I mean, maybe that's an omen for the future. Could be future teammates, for all we know. But those two had a really, really great scrap when they were on track together. Again, shame that McLaren didn't really have that much pace around here for some reason. I was expecting a bit better from them this weekend. But as their loss was our gain, because it provided some great entertainment, not just from there, but it seemed that Toro Rosso and Lotus went to war. Lotus looking surprisingly competitive, but for the first time in quite a while. Toro Rosso and Lotus had some great scraps. Grosjean and Maldonado were very, very clean, efficient. John-Eric Verne dive-bombed Grosjean into turn 1 in the latter stages, broke a part of Grosjean's car, and as a result, he kept going wide everywhere. Seems to have had some nasty damage or side effects to his car. Grosjean unfortunately finishing down in 11th place, just missing out on a point which he probably deserved. Maldonado had a 5-second time penalty, essentially, for speeding in the pit lane. But it was cancelled out by John-Eric Verne's 5-second time penalty for his illegal overtake on Grosjean, where he caused damage and caused a collision. So it was cancelled out. Maldonado got 9th, his first points of the season, while John-Eric Verne took the final point in 10th. Again, find those scraps. It was good fun to watch. Shame to see Kimi Raikkonen down there in 13th. It kind of sums up his season as well. It's like, what is going on with Kimi Raikkonen this season? I mean, 28 seconds behind his teammate, out of the points, beaten by both Lotus drivers, one of them with a fundamentally crippled car at the end. Not a good sign. And finally as well, lap 1, Sergio Perez with his epic done goof. Dive bombing on lap 1 on Adrian Sutil, getting it completely wrong and collecting himself and Sutil in the process. I kind of feel bad for Adrian Sutil in the sense of he's been here twice and he still hasn't completed a racing lap of the Circuit of the Americas yet, which I find bitterly unlucky for the poor guy. And it's a shame because Sauber were coming off their best qualifying result of the year by qualifying in 9th place after Button had his 5th-place gearbox penalty. Sittel will start in the place where he could have gotten some points. I don't think he would have gotten any in the end, mainly because Esteban Gutierrez's pace was terrible, and I think he was the last of the cars who actually finished. Sauber just don't look like they're showing any sign of scoring points. Many people ask me about this on Oscar, saying, oh, with Murica and Caterham not around, like, will Sauber score some points? No, because they're normally ahead of the Murica and Caterham anyway, so unless there's more mechanical problems up front, which is always a lottery, I mean, I don't think they're going to score points, which is, I guess, good news for Murica. But if considering they're in debt and you know, have got no money, does it matter really if they can't? If they come in ninth or not now, if they can't afford to fund themselves to get on the grid? That's a discussion for another video, but overall, I'm giving the Circuit of the Americas an 8 out of 10. I actually really enjoyed it. The first half was a little bit dull, but the second half was actually full of a lot of decent action, and I wasn't sure whether the Circuit of the Americas could produce good action in terms of a track. Despite Sergio's 7th place grid penalty for being an idiot, there were some good passes in the DRS zones and out of the DRS zones, so it's nice to see that the track does provide some action. Anywho, let me know what you thought of the Circuit of the Americas in the description below and in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and check back either tomorrow or on Thursday for the Hamilton Challenge in Bahrain. Should be fun. Until then, I've been Harrison101. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.